Guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world, and that's our job.
Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties, sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
All right. Happy Friday to you. This has been a Friday to remember because so much has happened, and we're going to delve into it all. I'm joined by Lola. Lola has returned from Las Vegas, where she was at the NFL draft, and so we'll talk about a little of that.
Yes.
But I want to talk about, well, somebody died. And there's this idea that black women should, I don't know, mourn, grieve, acknowledge sorrow. Listen, if you live by the misogyny, you die by the So this doesn't mean that you're celebrating the death. It just means that it's not important to you. Even for the people who want me to say something, I will say this. He is in our thoughts.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say. People will probably go just to make sure he's dead. They'll go to his funeral just to make sure he's dead. I can't imagine people going saying he was a loving, kind, caring individual who gave himself to the service of the people of the community. I think that that would be the biggest lie told upon the earth. And since
a lie from the pit of hell.
And I will say this, and since he just, as my grandmother would say, dropped down and died.
Drop down and die.
You will drop down and die. Nobody else wants to just drop down and die.
Well, I think very much like live by the sword, die by the sword. Mm-hmm. I think that we are in a situation here where he lived by the unkindness, and so we cannot expect kindness in his death. And I know that the Kappas are talking about they lost their frat brother, and I don't know, maybe that is unfortunate. And so here's the thing, though. Your frat brother was a turd. He was a trash human who literally made all of his notoriety. I can't even say his money, because I understand it through Black Twitter, and Black Twitter is a news source. I don't know why they don't go ahead and pay these people, because Black Twitter had it before anybody. I had people saying, we're waiting on TMZ. I thought there was a joke, so I put a laughing emoji.
No, yeah, everyone was saying
he's not TMZ worthy.
He's not anything worthy. Can you imagine, TMZ didn't report?
The news didn't report it because he's not relevant.
Even the Root media didn't report it. No one has reported this.
Because nobody cares.
And can you imagine all the stuff he said about us? Nobody cares about us. Well, apparently nobody cares about you either.
It's a valid point.
Wow. And people had a lot of memes, in regards to him. Yeah. It was all about him, and comedians would do little skits based on the conversations he was having with these women, and we couldn't even get a black media outlet, a certified black media outlet to cover the story. It was it was like walking over shit. Because you don't want to step in it.
I mean, he was a trash human. Now, I understand that the Kappas are grieving and mourning, and I do not want to make light of that, but I just feel like you ought to call a spade a spade.
And was he active?
Right. And instead of you trying to pretend like this is this huge event and that there has been some injustice being served because people are like, then I really feel like that your statement should be, anytime there is a sudden death, you are going to be unprepared. And the truth of it is that this death, as when anyone's life is cut short prematurely, is sad.
Very sad.
I mean, they could put a caveat on there parenthetically to some, but I'm just going to leave that right there. Kevin Samuel has kicked the bucket, bought the farm, gone on home, gotten his wings, transitioned. And here's the thing. I don't really know that you should say got his wings simply because he might have gone to the smoking section. Yeah. He may not have gone to the non-smoking section. He might really be, in the smoking section, looking up instead of down. I'm just saying. I mean, because I can remember him telling a woman, and the women that went on here were so broken and desperate. And I think that there should be a real conversation about what kind of person mentally makes a decision that they're going to listen to Kevin Samuels, but who's subletting. You know what subletting means, Lola? That means that the person who actually was renting the apartment rented it to him. And usually people sublet because there's an issue, like they can't get it on their own. Mm-hmm. And usually subletting is, I don't want to use the word illegal, but usually it's unauthorized by the actual owner of the property. So subletting said to me that his credit was trash. And so I have a very dear close friend whose wife is friends with the woman who dated him.
Oh, wow.
And she had to fake an eviction to get him out of her house. That's
deep.
Is Kevin Samuels. We're going to take a quick break. This is Corey with the Black Tea Sip. In a minute, we got a lot to talk about. Pro-choice, NFL draft for HBCU students. We're going to talk about Dave Chappell being attacked on stage. And
what a tragedy.
Yes, Jamie Foxx. They need a Texas boy. This big old cockstrong Ohio boy. Couldn't see about it. They need Jamie Foxx to come on out there. We're going to talk about it in a minute. This is Corey.
Nourished skin is healthy skin. Simply Ardor skincare products provides luxurious nourishment for your body. Indulge in rich scrubs and body butters and top it off with our sensational and unique aromatic lines of sprays and roll-on fragrances. It's simple and lovely. Simply Ardor. Love is real. Just spread it.
Asking me where I wanna be next to you. Baby, I'm thankful for the game that you're teaching me. I take it to heart. I want a piece of you. I wanna be yours. I wanna know what you're thinking. When we talk, what you feel. There is a problem, babe. Don't know if it's real or not. I know what I feel. I need some more of you. You and me belong together. I don't mind showing you it's real. I feel your heart when it beat. Me and you, we on the same team. I wanna be yours. I wanna be yours. I got a smart mouth, but I want it to be yours. I got a good heart and it's beating for you. Don't have to show me it's real. I wanna be, I don't mind showing you it's real. I wanna be, 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 Don't think I don't notice. I love how you glowing up. You taught me the basics about diamonds and snakes. Timing is precious, and it's better to wait. Tick tock, baby, I'm listening. I wanna know more. Don't wanna be your apprentice. I wanna be yours. I'm ready to jump in the deep end now. Baby, I'm sure you got that high dollar love, babe, like Christian Dior. Don't wanna be your friend, baby. I wanna be yours. Real or not, I know what I feel. I need some more of you. You and me belong together. I don't mind showing you it's real. I feel your heart when it beat. Me and you, we on the same team. I wanna be yours. I wanna be. I got a smart mouth, but I want it to be yours. I got a good heart and it's beating for you. Don't have to show me it's real. You don't have to show me. I don't mind showing you it's real. I don't mind showing you.
All right, and we're back. If you're just joining us, we are talking about the death of Kevin Samuels. I almost said tragic death, but I'm not going to lie to y'all. We sip power with poor truth. Just he died, and so we're acknowledging it. Angelo, you got a little bit of that clip. So those people that don't know who Kevin Samuel is and how he treated black women, he would say things like, I never will forget, he said, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think you are? And you can't use 7. So the girl said she was a 9. Well, I mean, this poor dog won't wag his own tail. And then he said, how much money do you make? She said, $35,000 a year. He said, how old are you? She said, 29. He said, how many kids do you have? She said, 3. He said, you see where I'm going with this? You're not a 9. Now, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and it's subjective. But he always wanted to use a woman's salary against her. And he would say, you're not the kind of woman that a 6-figure man would date. Well, I know a whole bunch of 6-figure men that date all kinds of women. Sometimes after divorce, sometimes after long breakups, they date little teeny boppers this 2021. And then there are some men that want women with substance. Kevin Samuels, on the other hand, used the brokenness of women to get notoriety and popularity. Play the clip, Angelo.
Children can come out of whatever I do. I can be 70 years old. As long as I'm not shooting blanks, I can make babies. You can't.
The reason why I became a phlebotomy technician is because there's something called a paramedical insurance examiner.
Get the fuck out my phone, bitch. I don't get the phone. Go take blood, boy. You in a job where people quiet in the background. Have you watched one of my videos, a 3-hour video from front to back?
That girl situation when he was ranking, that girl.
You're not paying attention.
When he was what? Talk to him.
Have you watched one of my videos? Have you watched a full video of mine from front to back? One of my live streams.
I just saw one video. Was it the whole? I think it was a whole video of some girl when you were.
He was ranking her. He asked her what her
asked her what she ranked herself.
I have a full 3-hour show that I do, and you watched a 7-minute clip. I challenge you and your friend to go back to my channel and watch the full 30-minute. Oh, now see, I'm not going to do this. And this is the problem. But you haven't even responded to what I said. You haven't even watched the full video of where the excerpt was coming from, but your friend has the nerve to make a judgment. That women have no problem judging men on partial information.
Stop generalizing women, please.
And you women are acting just like so many women who get upset. You have little to no information. You're not willing to do the work.
To ask you certain questions, and what you're responding to, I'm responding back to it. So you're referring to past videos, but I'm referring to things that you're telling me now. But you don't even let other people talk. You're asking me how old I am. You're generalizing women.
No, we haven't had sex.
Okay. Why?
Why? Because I'm stingy. I'm stingy with the puss.
Excuse me?
I'm stingy with it. I do not give it up easily.
Were you married to your daughter's? You were a baby mama, right?
All right, now we gonna stop him there. You hear him say, "Oh, but you a baby mama." Now we actually have a mutual friend, Simone Redwine, who actually called Kevin Samuels. Y'all should Google her. Simone's a beautiful girl. She's an attorney. She's, she's done what was the name of the show? The reality show she did? Something about love and somebody.
Yeah.
So Simone called him. So those women that you see on there, they call into the show. He wouldn't allow Simone to talk. He wanted the battered, the broken, the bleeding, tattered hearts. Those are the women. And then he used that to get his popularity. Kevin Samuels has gone on home. That's what we're going to say about that.
I mean, I'm just saying, I feel like God, he was just sick of the foolishness.
No. Let me tell you what happened. We prayed and asked God to take the misogynist. We were not specific in our prayer. We meant Donald Trump. He took Kevin Samuels. Y'all got to pray specifically. Y'all got to ask specifically who you talking about. You got to say Trump. Take him, Lord. Take him. And don't act like I'm the only person that prayed and asked God to kill somebody. So don't act like that. I know I'm not alone. So with that being said, he has gone on home. I'm through talking about him. We have 4 HBCU NFL draftees. So Lola was recently at the NFL. What you want us to know? NFL.
So it was. So let me just say this. I know this year everyone was disappointed because this is the first year in a long time that a quarterback wasn't the first round draft pick, and I think the first quarterback went like low second, high third. So this is what people call a disappointing year for the draft. Like there was no good talent, or it wasn't up to par. Because here's the thing: if you got drafted, you have talent. So
right,
that's the truth. So we did. There was a defensive lineman that got drafted from Jackson State. I had the privilege of actually meeting and talking to Akil, who was a high prospect from Alabama A&M.
Wait a minute, hold on, Angela. You got a clip. I want to pull up the 4 schools HBCUs. Check your email.
And so, and he had a conversation with Donovan McNabb.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that probably blew his mind.
Yes, it did. Him and Donovan McNabb talked about being black quarterbacks, black athletes, and then the difference between going to an HBCU and Donovan McNabb going to a PWI.
PWI is predominantly white institution.
Right.
HBCU, you should know, but historically black college university. Go ahead.
And so it was really fun. It was a really cool experience. We had his name is Veron. Veron is actually from Grand Prairie.
Hometown boy.
And he was an undrafted free agent, and he went to Miami. And there were quite a few. So Texas had the largest, actually, class.
Of course.
That was in the draft that got drafted. So Texas as a whole had 23 players drafted to the NFL.
No shocker there.
And then let's see, it was really cool. Of course, it was in Vegas. I got to really talk to a lot of people who are interested in doing other things while they still play sports. So that was really cool. I worked with Todd Gurley. He is like the hottest running back. I know everybody's like has been because of his injury, but I think he can make a comeback. He's currently being looked at as well. So it was a lot of networking, a lot of agents, a lot of people.
Help people understand the NFL draft. So help people understand the dynamics of the draft when you go, because most people only really liken it to what they see on TV when they're calling names. But the draft is, it's a week long.
So it's from Thursday to Saturday. Thursday at 7 p.m. is when the draft starts. Fans fly in to go into this huge space. Not the safest space, not the cleanest space. I just don't understand. Sometimes it's in auditorium, but it was outside in Vegas. And then you are rooting your team on who they're picking. And these people are here, and they're so committed to being to supporting their team, that they are rooting that they will pick the correct, like what they need,
what they think they need.
Those
are the people who say we paid such and such amount. You ain't paid nobody nothing, sir.
At the end,
you work for UPS.
They're definitely armchair coaches and recruiters. So it's a lot of that. Now, we only see like the first 10, 12, 13 people get drafted. So we only see the first night from 7 to 10, the draftees that walk on, and that's optional. Not everybody does that. Not everybody goes. That is very much so optional. However, if you have a child, like your kids play sports.
My kids play basketball. Don't get it twisted, Auntie Lola. They'll tell you we don't play sports. We hoopers.
And so what they'll do is once you enter the draft, register for the draft, you're technically no longer in school. And so when you're no longer in school and you've entered the draft, the NFLPA and other affiliated NFL organizations fly these kids out. So you go to symposiums, your parents can go to the symposiums, you go to networking events, agents want to talk to you. Agents are heavy, right? Because it is the draft.
Right, because what it is.
It is definitely the draft. There's a lot that goes in. It's very, very different from an All-Star weekend or a event.
Or Super Bowl.
Or a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because it's so the current players are not there. Some will come, if they're, being interviewed or they are a paid event, like because it was in Vegas, a lot of former Raiders were there, but they were paid to be there to participate in a party or things of that nature. So that's really what the draft is. It's a big space. It's an introduction of the new class of prospects of the NFL. And so and it was really nice. It was really fun. It was a lot of work, but very successful. I really am proud. Shout out to Culture Equity. Tiffany, we worked it out. Okay.
That's code for they had some hiccups, but they got past it. Y'all don't speak Lola, but I speak Lola.
Yes. Shout out to Culture Equity, George Foreman Jr.
Now she name dropping.
But they were all great. It was good working with them.
So I think it's also important to note that she's naming a Black-owned company. So her new friend Tiffany and George Foreman Jr., they own Culture Equity, and they did the logistics, and so that's a big deal for a Black company to do
logistics right.
Right.
Let me say that to do it right, because I've done events and I know I've dropped. I just made it through, so, but for
by the grace of God,
to the point where, to wristbands, because an event we had, it was like invite only, right? And so she had different colors, and I'm thinking to myself, why? And she was like, because, and she's like explaining this, and it's very important, and had to go with it. And so,
well, you're a marketing person, you're not a logistics person.
I definitely am not.
And so I think it's important to say these Black-owned companies are getting a shot to participate at the highest level. The NFL, as far as sports is concerned, is one of the highest levels. And so we're not just in the room or at the proverbial table, we're actually getting checks cut.
Yeah,
that's
and
a big deal.
And speaking the language, like we're not saying, oh yeah, we can do that, and then your cousin come in and do it. It's like
it's not so plain.
Yeah, it's not so plain. It was really dope. I really learned a lot from them. I'm look forward to working with them in the future as well. So it was dope.
I think that's also important for us to talk about these four. Angela, can you bring the graphic back up? The four babies, because they're babies to me. My son does not like me to speak to his friends. He's like, don't speak to them, don't. And they're children to me, and he has some best friends, and they're like my babies too. I'm going to see about them like I would see about my own. And he's like, don't speak to them, don't talk to them, don't look at them. I'm like, Lord, little boys that horny, you can't even speak to your child's friends. Bless the little baby's heart. But so we have these babies. Joshua Williams of Fayetteville State, HBCU, went in the fourth round. Lord, I'm going to put on some glasses. Jacoby Durant, South Carolina State, fourth round. James Houston for the fourth. Jackson State, Dion, shout out Dion. He went in the 6th round, and J. Tyree Carter, Southern University, 7th round. So we just want to give a shout out to these babies.
And it's normal to go low for HBCUs because the concern is that they won't be able to compete on the level.
I don't know that. I mean, how many rounds is it? Isn't it 25 rounds?
It's 8 rounds.
8?
Yeah.
Where I get 25? Oh, it's 25. Is it 25 in each round? Mm-hmm. See how I messed it up? Because I've left NFL. I am now focused on the NBA. Shout out to Coach Z and H's
Shout out
team.
to Coach Z. Yeah. So
it's a joke in there. It's a joke.
Usually it is definitely it's very normal.
But let me say this. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean to cut you off. I resent the fact that we have to justify why we went, because they were not the only ones that went low. There was plenty of Caucasian and Hispanic people that also were in the 4th and the 6th, 7th, and 8th round. But we feel, and this is not you. Mm-hmm. This is not a you thing, Lola. No. This is a community thing. It's a culture thing. We feel like we have to justify it. When the truth is that some kids went to PWIs that went low in the round, but we feel like because it's an HBCU, let me say this unequivocally, categorically. We are here to stay. Our HBCUs are going to compete, and we are going to win.
And I think we need to know that HBCUs matter in sports because there would be no AFC.
Right.
Without the HBCUs.
That's
because
right.
When
That's
it was the AFL could not afford to recruit because the NFL was had the money. Right. So they had to start recruiting from Jackson State, Grambling, Prairie View,
Texas Southern,
all
What's
these
the dude's
schools.
name with the gap in his mouth? Get that fixed.
Yeah.
Good Morning America. You know I don't like him. He used to be engaged to Eddie Murphy's wife, and then he put a tracker on her car, and then she called off the way he said he couldn't trust her. She said, "Well, why you can't trust me?" And he had a tracker, and he told her he's a weirdo.
So
what is his name? Because he plays
Michael Strahan.
Michael Strahan strayed from the culture and the community. He has strayed, but Gaptooth went to Texas Southern and had a very successful career, and now is grinning at y'all with that space in his face on Good Morning America.
So with that being said, we are part of the not just the success, but we saved the day. Like the reason why there is an AFC now is because of HBCUs, because black athletes could not even go to the University of Texas to mid 70s. It wasn't even 60s, so it wasn't that long ago. We're not that removed from it, and that's what we have to understand. Like we are the core.
Like everything else, we are the core of everything. Politics. I mean, sports. When
every time they try to exclude us, they come back because they need us. So
like with everything else, like in life,
know our worth. But and even someone like Tom Brady, he got drafted very, very late, and now he will go down in history as
one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever live.
To
Inflate
ever play
gate.
the game. Mm-hmm.
Inflate gate.
Now he must really be tired of Giselle because he was retired 5 minutes, and now he is back. He even had to pay.
I don't think you ought to do that. See, now Lola done talked about this man's wife on the cool.
I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not saying that he didn't like her, but
no, they got little bitty kids.
Yeah,
they got little bitty babies.
He wasn't ready
probably
for that.
Wasn't his wife. It's the children. And let me tell you what happened. So Lola's not married. Well, I'm not either. But look, I got marriage credit. Say that part.
Like church credit.
I have church credit too. Cause I have some friends that'll tell you, I don't have to go to church every Sunday. If my pastor hear this, he's gonna be very. Let me not share this with the friendship with. If I do bedside Baptist, pre-COVID I was bedside Baptist because I have church credit. I have a very dear friend that grew up in a church with me, and he said, "I know you have church credit. I do too because I was with you at every vacation Bible school, every BTU, every choir rehearsal, every usher boy." They used to say, if every usher was just like me, what would this usher boy be? And I think to myself, shit, it'd be
rude.
Poop. It would be poop because I did not like to usher. Stand up on my feet with those hands, I didn't like that. I didn't want to be there. My mama had me there. And then my mama had me sitting there when they did the Sunshine Committee. And every now and then we'd have to come and do the deaconess something or other because Betty Kennedy was on. Listen, I got church credit. Now, with that being said, I have church credit. I got a bunch of other credits too because my mama has had me in a lot of stuff. So I'm just simply saying that when people say they done had they enough, hear them and hear them well. Listen, you know what? I was triggered. We're going to take a break. I was triggered. See, that church credit thing did something to me because I'm church, Bedside Baptist. Lord. Take a break, Angela. We'll come back in just a second. I want to talk about some things that are going on. We've got some things going on with our young black girls, and we've got some things going on with pro-choice, and then we're going to talk about Dave Chappelle. And why did they need Jamie Foxx? Because he's a country boy, for real, for real.
At heart.
In Turtle, Texas. Shout out. In a minute.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analysts are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft in less than 12 weeks. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-490-TPTI or check them out on the web at tpti.us.
I've been waiting to share my love for such a long, long time. And the thought of loving you, it makes me smile. But I must be sure that this is really worth my while. Can I trust that you will always make me feel amazing? Baby, your love's contagious. We love the stages. This love we're making is fire. I take hits to go higher. Load it up, just one kiss, I miss fire. Run, I saw Cupid with a gun. We make music and use it when it comes. We didn't choose it, but prove we get it done. The mood is setting stores for sun. So baby, have a little fun.
Gorgeous, Miss Flawless, ruler of the queendom. Truly knows what it takes to help and build a kingdom. Fly as a mother, but the lady stay grounded. Her ass ain't the only thing that be well-rounded. Strength of flow, Evans, dope is Miss Huxtable. The lady that you don't mind giving your loving to. You deserve a toast. Can I have this first dance? Met 3 times, I feel it's my last. Can I be your Isley brother? You my sister's sledge. Arousing my mental, baby, giving me head. Over your head, eyes above your breast. First order of business, praise and respect. Your grind is an art, hardly duplicated. Vivid as Van Gogh, Rembrandt can't paint it. Take me to new floors. Thank you for the elevate, pushing me higher. Thank you for the levitate.
And this is more than a dedication. Sacred love is a celebration. This is made from when you feel you can't make it. I'll build a safe haven, a place you can run when it's raining. I'll come when it's raining. Baby, keep a lookout for the sun. And maybe we can stay forever young and play forever until the moon. In love without wanting. So many never know it where we from. But I promise if you hold on, things will get better. Be strong. You never have to go at it alone. I know that it's a lot of temptation, a lot of trouble out there. But I swear that I'll be here when you get home. So baby, take the long way. Let your light shine, let your song play. Gonna speak your mind, lemonade, go Beyonce. I love your innocence, I give the world to you one day. Wake up every morning, pray for you, then I say amazing. Baby, your love's contagious. We love the stages. This love we're making is fire. I take hits to go higher. Load it up, just one kiss, I miss fire. Run, I saw Cupid with a gun. We make music and use it when it comes. We didn't choose it, but prove we get it done. The mood is setting stores for sun. So baby, have a little fun. I like how you make me feel.
I really like that song. If you are an independent artist and you want to be heard on the radio, this show is international, so you'll be heard all over the world. Shout out to my people in Afghanistan. Guy hit me and told me he's coming home. It's a little too rough over there. He's a contractor, and so we have some Dallas, or I shouldn't say Dallas. We have some DFW contractors working in Afghanistan, and I believe he said I don't know if it's Iraq or Iran. I'm sorry, y'all. I just don't know the difference. The geopolitics of they told us they were all bad. Start with an I, anything with an I, A, L with a P. It was all bad. So they are they listen to the show, and of course they listen later because of the time difference. But shout out to the contractors in Afghanistan, hometown boys, stand up. So we were talking about the NFL draft. But, when we were talking about the black kids and having to justify the fact that they went lower, I want to say that I think our time is now. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. And we are making some real noise. But our kids Our kids are saying no to PWIs, and they are saying, I am going to an HBCU. I am going to be where I am nurtured. I am going to go where I can be loved. I am going to
where I can be proud.
Where I can be proud. Where I can see people that look like me, that are representational of the fact that we are not this one node, kind of monolith kind of identity, that we are multifaceted, that we can learn and grow from one another. And so I think that is a great thing. So shout out and congratulations to all of those people that went to that decided to go to an HBCU and are now entering the draft. And you will be in our thoughts and our prayers, not just our thoughts. All right, so listen, we've got Dave Chappell. Dave, if y'all want to know what we're talking about with Dave Chappell, I'm gonna pour a little tea. Give me a like. Not just the emotion where I see the little heart. I do like the little hearts though. But give us a like. Tell us you like the show. We appreciate it. We love to hear from y'all. And some of y'all got something to say after the fact. Like y'all will DM me. Y'all scared to say it like alive? Like what you're saying is not bad. Nobody's gonna attack you.
Jumping on, is that where you wanted to start? Because I didn't know. Okay.
But we want to. What do you want to start?
Oh, because I thought we were doing about the girl at Southern.
Not yet.
Okay, cool.
See, she's talking about me. But see how she's doing? She's trying to run the show. All right, so with that, Dave Chappell is attacked. But before that, we're going to take a break. But I want to play a poem. So, because I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we keep talking about the protection of black women, but our black men are left unprotected. No one seems to care. We talked about that with Chris Rock. Play the link, and then we got to take a break, pay some bills. We're going to come right back and talk about Dave Chappelle. There's be a link with poetry. You don't have? Yeah, he's got it. He's always got it. But he's like, what is she talking about? I'm talking about this.
So I'm driving down the street with my 4-year-old nephew. He knocking back a juice box, me a Snapple. Today, y'all, we are doing manly shit. I love watching the way his mind works. He asks a million questions. Uncle, why is the sky blue? Uncle, how do cars go? Uncle, why don't dogs talk? Uncle, uncle, uncle. He asks uncle, uncle, uncle. He asks uncle, 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 as if his voice box is a warped record. I try my best to answer every question I do. I say it's because the way the sun lights up the outer space is because engines make the wheels go. It's because their minds aren't quite like ours. I say yes, no, no, yes, no, yes, no. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe we laugh. He smiles, looks out the window, spots a cop car, drops his seat and says, oh man, Uncle, 5-0, we gotta hide. I'll be honest. I'm not happy with the way we raise our black boys. Don't like the fact that he learned to hide from the cops well before he knew how to read. Angrier that his survival depends more on his ability to deal with authorities than it does his own literacy. Get up, I yell at him. In this car, in this family, we are not afraid of the law. I wonder if he can hear the uncertainty in my voice. Is today the day he learns that Uncle is willing to lie to him? That I'm more human than I am hero. We both know the truth is far more complex than do not hide. Both know too many black boys who disappeared, names lost, know too many Trayvon Martins, Oscar Grants, and Abner Louimas, know too many Sean Bells and Amadou Diallos, know too well that we are the hard-boiled sons of Emmett Till. Still, we both know it's not about whether or not the shooter is racist. It's about how poor black boys are treated as problems well before we're treated as people. Black boys in this country cannot afford to play cops and robbers if we're always considered the latter. Don't have the luxuries of playing war if we're already in one. Where I'm from, seeing cop cars drive down the street feels a lot like low-flying planes in New York City. Where I'm from, routine traffic stops are more like minefields. Any wrong move could very well mean your life. And how do I look my nephew in his apple face and tell him to be strong when we both know black boys who are murdered every day simply for standing up for themselves? I take him by the hand, I say be strong. I tell him, I say be smart. Be kind and polite. Know your laws. Be aware of how quickly your hand moves to pocket for wallet or ID. Be more aware of how quickly an officer's hand moves to holster for gun. Be black. Be a boy. Have fun. Because this world will force you to become a man far more quickly than you'll ever have to need to. He lets go of my hand, but Uncle, he asks, Uncle, what happens if the cop is really mean? And it scares me to know that he, like so many other black boys, is getting ready for a war I can't prepare him for.
Just 30 days after hire and company match 401k. Visit us at KikoHome.com and submit your resume to Cariano@lkiko.com. You can also apply in person at 5450 West Keith Boulevard in Dallas. All interviews are conducted in person. Don't miss this great opportunity. Get hired today at Kiko.
I may never have met you. We don't go way back. Maybe we wouldn't even be friends if we did. But when you wear a mask, you have my respect. Because your mask doesn't protect you. It protects me. And I wear my mask to protect you. Mask up, America.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Fishbowl Radio Network. FBRN.US. Jump in.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world. but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job.
Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Tell me why. Why can't we live together? Everybody wants to live together. Why can't we live together?
Hello, all you melanated beauties, sun-kissed by God's lips. This is Coy with your black tea sip. I'm sipping power to pour you the truth. Go grab your cup. Let's fill it up.
All right, and we're back. If you're just joining us, this is Coy with the Black Tea Sip, and I am here with the lovely Lola of Lola's Love Life. I don't know how much Lola got loved her life, but she was at the NFL draft, but she was calling me so doggone much. I don't think she had time for nobody else.
Well, shout out to Coy for being my
sounding board
and
therapist.
Yeah. Shout out, because I was like, somebody can get shot or I can get back on the plane today now. I don't know which one is safest.
Well, as long as you don't shoot them at the airport, you're good. All right, so if you're just joining us, you missed Javon. He's an incredible poet. I love his work. I played it on the show because I think it's important to talk about the fact that we are constantly talking about black women not being protected and what we need. And then Bald-Headed Jada came out with the whole thing. And so and then you learn that she's trifling and she's trash human like I said she was. And then she said the Will was not good in bed. See, okay, I've gone on a tangent. However, the idea that black women are not protected by black men or anyone else, and I have said the most disrespected creature on the planet is the black woman, and I do believe that. But listen, it depends on the situation, because black men are also highly disrespected, and not just from outsiders. I'm not here to preach white is bad and black is good, because listen, all white folks ain't bad and all black folks ain't good. Right. But we saw Dave Chappell get attacked. We got the clip of Dave Chappelle getting attacked, Angelo. See how he's always on it. We're gonna play. I know y'all have seen it. I just want to talk about it. Dave Chappelle gets attacked, but now notice this. Let me just say this before we play the clip. Dave Chappelle got a drink in his hand. You know he full of cigs, and you know he full of that drink. And he's still, even with the replica gun, with the knife shooting out of this fool, made him like a bayonet. He made him like a bayonet, like he was fighting in the Civil War. And he came for Dave Chappelle, and Dave Chappelle just almost shook him like an NFL move. Run the clip, Angelo.
Behind me on the DJ table is one of the most prolific producers that hip-hop has ever presented, the mighty Mad Lib. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for hip-hop history. I am going to kill them. Wait, I gotta see this.
So you see Dave Chappelle the guy never took him down. Dave Chappelle literally says, thank God he was clumsy.
Yeah, but he came, like a rush, like
But I'm trying to understand the mentality.
I don't understand.
And he waited till the end of the show. If you that mad at him, you don't want him to perform. So you let him get through his whole set. This is at the end of the show. And then he bummed, and the man flies through the air. Flies
Only
through
to
the
get
air.
his butt kicked even more. When
So,
he don't even...
Angela, do we have a picture of the after results of that man? I can get it. Okay, then we're going to show the after results. His arm is literally backwards.
Oh, wow.
He's beat. They taught him, and they say it was Jamie Foxx that put them hands on him. Bing, 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 bing. And I don't want Jamie to get in trouble. Now here is why I said the black man is unprotected. They are not going to press felony charges against him. They have referred it down as a misdemeanor. This man had a weapon on stage that was a knife, wielding it at Dave Chappelle, and it's a misdemeanor. It's not a, and here is what I think is most important. When they arrested him, the police department referred it to the district attorney as a felony. The DA is refusing.
What city was it in?
This is in, that's a good question. I don't remember.
See,
and it's on the tip of my tongue. But look, we can Google. Go ahead.
And the reason why I'm asking is because very different situations, but when Plexico Burrows shot himself in the leg, right?
Yes.
So New York state laws are definitely different than New York City laws.
That's correct.
And so, clearly there should not have been any serious repercussions for him shooting himself. But Bloomberg, who black people were almost trying to support,
they acted like they didn't know this man's history.
Yeah, was like they're gonna take actions to the fullest extent, like really trying to show
Los Angeles County
that part. So based on who is, and this is why it's important to vote, and not that, but based on who's in office, will determine how far. Or
and she means who you elect as your district attorney,
your district attorney, and your mayor. Because once he said he was supposed to be in there for a few minutes, so he shot himself, and then nobody even knew for 2 days. It gets on the news, and then they say, okay, you got to turn yourself in. You're gonna sit in, get $10,000 bail, and it was gonna be done.
Yeah, right. But
Bloomberg gets a hold to it, and it turns into
because New York state laws, you're not supposed to have a gun, right?
New York, city law.
You're not city, but the state, So the state supersedes the city, but Bloomberg, because he was Bloomberg, and he was the mayor, he made an issue. Now I'm going back to Dave Chappelle, Los Angeles County, had it been, let's say, what's the name, man? Seinfeld. Had it been Seinfeld,
it would have been a felony.
It would have been a felony.
But
because the guy is black, he also had on fingernail polish. Is this was he mad?
I
thought
like
it was
the gay community. I literally, when I saw it was a man, I was like, oh, he
had a ponytail.
I guess Dave offended his boyfriend.
And so, and so here we are, and here's what I really want to emphasize. The LGBTQ community, as far as I know, now let me qualify for it, get me. As far as I know, has been relatively quiet. And I think that's odd, because what they ought to be doing is saying that this man's behavior is abhorrent. And that they do not condone this kind of behavior and violence and blah, blah, blah. And I think that they should be saying something about jokes. I don't know. He was at the Hollywood Bowl, and that's why I was like, it's on the tip of my tongue, but I couldn't for some reason. Maybe because at this age, because I'll be 50 on the 25th, and I do accept not just well wishes, but well dollars. I cannot go without eating, and so I just had 2 sausages and some eggs very, very early, and it's time for me to eat again because I do eat 2 dinners, and so I'm hungry, and so I could not think. Now, with that being said, in Los Angeles, he is attacked openly in the same way that Will Smith openly attacked Chris Rock. He was charged with 4 misdemeanors, not a felony. 4 misdemeanors.
And that is what you get when you...
While carrying a replica gun that contained a switchblade, was charged today with 4 misdemeanor counts. The Los Angeles County prosecutors declined to pursue any felony charges. Isaiah Lee, 23, was charged instead by the Los Angeles City Attorney Office with single misdemeanor counts of battery, possession of a weapon with intent to assault, unauthorized access to the stage area during performance, and commission of an act that delays or an event or interferes with the performer. So they threw everything they could at him.
Mm-hmm.
So, but maybe, and I'm just presupposing here, perhaps the reason, bring up the photo, Angelo, the reason that they said they're not going to charge him with a felony is because
based on my color, the color of my skin, and all of that. It should not. And you are
right.
And
it absolutely is.
It really is.
If Jerry Seinfeld had been hosting the Academy Awards and made that comment, Will would have never done anything, whether Jay looked at him or not. So here we are saying, well, I know ain't nothing going to happen to me because he looked like me, and that's what's happening. And here this man, and clearly this man has mental illness and we need to get him some help. But with that being said, I think that it is uber important for us to really look at this and with a large lens and with a magnifying lens and identify the fact that this is not okay.
No,
it's not okay, and we shouldn't have to deal with it. Like, we shouldn't have to say, okay, well, no, ain't no well, You know, the truth of the matter is Dave Chappelle was under attack, and they have continued to go after him for telling jokes, but also, to be honest, speaking the truth. Now, even though I'm not a Kevin Samuels fan, everything he said was not wrong. I mean, some of it was right. It's just the delivery was bad. Dave Chappelle, I didn't like Kevin Samuels. Guess what? I didn't watch him. I didn't listen to him. I knew that he existed because I do this show. But beyond that, I didn't pay him any attention. You know, now, if you don't like Dave Chappelle, why are you? And he was at the front, so he paid really good money. Or he had a really good hookup that he just wasted. You know, and to run up on stage like that, so clearly there's something going on. He's got some mental illness, and I'm going to leave it there because I do want to talk about some things that are going on with our black youth. This is Coy with the Black Tea Sip. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back in a minute.
Nourished skin is healthy skin. Simply Ardor skincare products provides luxurious nourishment for your body. Indulge in rich scrubs and body butters, and top it off with our sensational and unique aromatic lines of sprays and roll-on fragrances. It's simple and lovely. Simply Ardor. Love is real. Just spread it.
On my eyes, you got them days. Took you a whole year to bounce back. Took me a couple days. You hitting licks, I'm getting rich. I'm hitting C-notes. Watch what you say, I got a pick. I can show you what he know. He can do tricks, he with the shit. Do what I tell him to. If he get at you, I plead the fifth. I didn't tell him to. I hit the block was hot. I had to drive the top. Remember the name, never forget the face. I'm coming back. Won't I? Go get your phone now. Yeah. Won't I? Go get your phone now. You should watch me shine. Look like I hit the lotto. I be on my grind. Bitches think I hit the lotto. You should watch me shine. Look like I hit the lotto. Bitches think I'm lying. Nah, I ain't hit the lotto. Oh, now, go get your phone now. Cause I'm in a zone now. This is my town. Turn off the lights now. Cause I'm shutting shit down. Sending shots to all my haters. No, I don't promote violence. Where is the waiter? Sign autographs later. Then I gotta go. Sign autograph on the back of my check. Minding my business. Yeah, that's a bet. Baby, my entourage ready to flex. Pop rubber bands. See, we neck to neck. Running the race. I got who's next. How does it taste? Pick up the pace. I'm on a new page. My honey's fresh. Like they just came out of a suitcase. Won't I? Go get your phone now. Go get your phone. Won't I? Go get your phone now. You should watch me shine. Look like I hit the lotto. I be on my grind.
All right, and we're back. You should watch me shine. Watch us shine on the Black Tea Sip. All right, now, all right. We were talking about, if you just joined us, this is Coy with the Black Tea Sip and the lovely Lola's Love Life, a segment that we do as she intentionally dates online. I did not know how to date online, and I brought her on this show because I really jacked her up. I had some people on there that were, well, let's just say less desirable. Because I was swiping left, right, up, and down. I didn't know what I was doing. Listen, there is a lot that is going on with our black youth. And recently, I was sent a text message of another young, black, beautiful college student, seemingly with everything in front of them, you know, their whole life, talented, smart, good schools, that just could not go on. And I'm, you know, I'm gonna try to get through this without getting emotional, but I am feeling some kind of way about the fact that our children do not think that the suicide, they don't realize it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Anyway, well, let me say this. With suicide, they want it to, most times it's something that you really want to happen, because the people we think that are most suicidal aren't. It's the ones with the brightest smiles and the people you love to hang around, the life of the party, the most probably vivacious. Those are the ones that are struggling the most. And we don't see that, and this is why people say, well, I didn't see it coming. You didn't see it coming because they're making such an effort to mask and hide what's really going on.
And I think it's important to say we need to deal with the children that are people pleasers. See, because when you feel the need to please people for a certain level of acceptance or likability, or that's just what you feel like you need to do, make people happy, then what happens is you are draining yourself. And if no one is pouring back into you, then you're running on empty.
And so with being a people pleaser, the thing about it is you do this because of a lack of acceptance or
fear of a lack.
Fear of a lack, but mostly a lack. Like, you're not that person that people are gravitating to, or you're not receiving the love and the attention that you feel you should have or don't have at all. And so what that does is you recognize that when you're making people happy, no one's doing it for you. Yeah, no one's doing it. They love you. When you're the life of the party, people want to be around you. And when you're talented and all these other things, and because you're longing for acceptance, love, appreciate all these things.
But I also think it's a processing of those things, because yes, people will come and they'll take and they'll take and they'll take, right? If you're giving, that's why I say you'll end up empty. But I also think it's a way to process, what is love to you? Because it's subjective. What's love to you may not be love to me. My mama talks about in dating, she says, you got to love me my way, you can't love me your way. And that's such a profound statement, because what she is saying is the things that I need, you have to give those things to me for me to feel like you love me. You can't, have this idea that this is love. When I was married, I told my ex I wanted this watch. This is a company called Skagen. I love the watch. I wanted that watch. I talked about the watch. I took him by. I showed him the watch. I did everything other than buy the watch for myself and put his name on it. All of that. Valentine's Day rolls around. He buys me a bouquet of flowers with this bath stuff in it, like a massage or something. And I was like, what? That was him loving me his way, not loving me my way. Because if you love me my way, then I'm not saying you go out and you buy what I want, but clearly if you're going to spend some money, then spend some money on what I want. And I think there is a disconnect of what people feel like is love. But I'm going to say this about our children. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's feeling like, so we talk about bullying, and there's a whole debate about that, but it's feeling isolated, right? And I can personally talk about this, feeling isolated and not included in things, and it may be harmless. Like we don't even know we're doing that to other people, but
is it really that, or is it the perception of it?
Well, and it is, but as a child, so these are where the habits grow, right? This is where you develop being a people pleaser. This is where you recognize I want this feeling of love, whether it's love my way, that's further on, but I want this feeling of of love, acceptance, or whatever. And so you try things. So you may act out, you may be bad or whatever, and you recognize that's not working. So, or you recognize you get straight A's, and everyone's like, "Oh, my daughter's fat. She's smart." Or
so you continue those behaviors so that you can get that.
You are trying to figure out what you have to do to get what you want, right? So you make straight A's, you're the smart kid, so now this is why the world will accept me because I'm smart. Or you are the cute kid, or you are whatever your thing is, that people now recognize you. It's as if if you're not being, noticed, no one sees you,
But I still think. So I'm gonna say something. Lola says I'm harsh, but I'm honest. I'm gonna say this. I certainly don't have a parenting handbook, and my cousins and other people in my life that I care about their opinions thinks at times I tell my children too much. It might be true. But what I do is I have an open conversation with them, and my oldest son made the comment a few years back. He said, well, I'm asking you, Mom, because I know you're not going to lie. Aha, he has identified a liar, but we're not going to, that's a talk show for a different day. So he said, I'm going to ask you, because I talk to my kids, and I've been talking to them since they were born, and I have very real conversations with them. And, I think, and I'm going to say this, and I know people are going to get mad at me. I don't understand you parents don't talk to your kids for 2 weeks because they in college. I talked to my mom almost every day when I was in college. But now let me say this. My dad worked for the phone company, so there was a little hookup there. But I don't understand that. The last little girl who killed herself from LSU, my sorority sister's daughter, the mother had not talked to her daughter in 2 weeks. This idea about letting them be grown, they're not. The human brain is not fully developed until you're 25 years old. These kids are out here making mistakes. They're out here trying to figure it out. They're out here trying to understand what life is about. And life is different. Everything is at your fingertips. You have a computer in your pocket. You are saying that I'm not good enough. Someone is better than me. All of these things. My oldest child, who is 14, told me he took Instagram off of his phone because he was watching other kids play basketball that are around his age, and they were doing things that he couldn't do. So he said it made him feel bad, and he said, I think this is what my mama is talking about. Talk to your children. Talk to them. Because let me say this. You cannot save them from the world, and yes, we want to. But my son said, I think this is what my mama is talking about. I'm taking this off of my phone. And he said he felt better.
And to that point, and that's great. Some parents are talking to their kids, right? And it's still not. And the conversation isn't what it should be.
Then they're not talking to them. If the conversation is not what it should be, they are not talking to them. They're talking at them.
No, but even with that, I can. This is very personal to me, without crying or anything, because I do remember people talking to me. But then, even in talking to me, we think it's funny, or we think it's a joke in some of the things that we say, and when it's consistently said, you try to deal with it, or this is just who you are, right? But you don't hear, like, when you're talking or keeping it real to you with your kids or whatever, that's great. But you're also celebrating their victories. I mean, yesterday you talked about the basketball game and how well they did, and how they got the last shot and all those things. And so there's equal conversation. So even if they're doing something wrong, or even if they're doing something right, some parents are only talking when you're doing wrong. Some parents are only talking, even if a child says, I need help, and the parent says, I ain't got time for that, go figure it, something like that. If it's said enough, it's like
that you're on your own.
You're on your own, right? Or,
well, I can say this. My mom did not identify with me and all the stuff that was going on with me. Kids were very jealous of me. Kids did little things, nice, nasty things to me. Some of them were downright nasty, and I also went through this thing. I was super popular, but oh my God, I was the person they loved to hate, because I was really less concerned about being liked. Because a long time ago, I was very concerned about it when I was very young, and I said to my dad, I don't know why they don't like, because I went from private school to public school. My parents were a lot older when they had me. My mother had a master's degree long before I was even born. So my dad had worked on the same job I think by the time I was born, my dad had already had 20 years on his job. So life for me was different. My parents they were in a different tax bracket. You know, they were older, they were more established. We went on, different kinds of vacations. And my friends' parents were much younger, really still trying to get into their careers. So life for me was different. I had older brothers and older cousins, and I was beloved because I'm lovable. So, and I was the favorite in a lot of ways. So going to places where I'm not going to be the favorite was difficult. But I had a dad who did not have all the answers and did not always say the right thing. But I'm telling you, he kept it 100. And my dad said, they not going to like you. You a berry. They don't like berries. I walked out that room saying it doesn't matter if they don't like me, because this is the same man that told me when I said my neck was too long and I looked like a giraffe. My dad said, I prayed. Now, this is a bunch of bull. But my daddy said to me, I prayed for your neck to be like that. Your neck is like a swan. It's like a gazelle. See how elegant they are. See how nobody messes with the giraffe. Like, he went through this thing. So what I'm saying is, no, we don't have all the answers as parents. And I'm saying this because, pull up the clip, Angelo, of the young girl, the cheerleader. This young girl took her own life. Southern University, cheerleader.
And the important thing is, it's the people, like those who are taking their lives, and I really want people to understand this, are not your narcissistic, depressed. That's not, I mean, they stay around for the attention. It's the ones that you think have it all together, or they're, and they have it all. Yeah. And the reality is, but they work so hard to have it all together, and they still aren't getting what that it is in whatever it may be, And I say that because, and I'm not telling you what I heard, I'm telling you what I know, because I have been someone who's worked so hard to get, get that it by being all the things I thought I needed to be. Even with music and singing, I'm not the biggest girl. I'm not the smallest one either. But even like being rejected because of weight or, complexion and things of that nature, or sound, and this is something you cherish and you love, and although people say things that they feel are out of love, it may not be received that way either. Because I remember when I was like, I'm gonna go, and when I go to college, I'm majoring in music, and I'm going to, sing. I was gonna be a star, and someone very close to me said, if this person we knew who was a jazz singer wasn't successful, why do you think you will be? I just don't want you to, feel like that can happen. And I did not know how much that affected me until
But I think, but I do think this. This young girl. And I'm going to read the statement, and I'm hoping I can get through it. Cheerleader, gorgeous. She's from DeSoto. My childhood friend is principal of the school this girl's mother used to work at. I'm just going to say that much. I'm not going to give the name of school. I don't want to disrespect this woman. I want to respect her and her privacy and in her grief. But this is close to home. We had another young woman, my sorority sister's daughter, who threw herself off the same bridge and killed herself, who went to LSU several months ago. We are finding out that our black children and girls are killing themselves. We heard about the young girl in New York that threw herself off of a building because she just could not go on. And so I am saying this, that I think Some of this with our kids is because everybody got a trophy. We have not taught our children disappointment. We have not told them that disappointment does not define them. We have not taught them. We tell them to tell the teacher and not to take something and try to knock that person's head off if they bothering you. Don't let people put their hands on you. Just run and tell the teacher. We are not teaching our children to defend themselves. We are not teaching them that they are not defined by an isolated moment. We are not teaching them that it is okay to fail because failure builds character. And we are definitely not teaching them that somebody else saying something about you is not who you are. It does not define you. It does not make you. We are not teaching them that. We are not teaching them to be whole even in their failures, because failures breed victory. We are not teaching them that. We are teaching them to give up when adversity comes. I'm going to read this. I'm going to try to get through it. I'm going to try. I got emotional and I couldn't even talk to my mama about it. This baby post, before she threw herself off that bridge, said, "May this day bring me rest and peace. I have fought this urge since my early teenage years. I gave this life and all the fight I had. To everyone who has entered my life, I'm so grateful, and I can only imagine how this may find you. I have been surrounded by people who may have honestly thought I was okay, but I haven't been okay for a while. I struggled so much through just this year alone, to COVID, to tearing my ACL, to nearly failing all of my classes. To the people in my life, I pray you learn to vocalize your feelings and get help always. I failed at that, and I'm afraid it's too late. Mom, thank you so much. I pray you know I'm at rest now. You would have given anything to see me happy. You have given everything to see me happy. I'm happy in the water, where everything is still and peaceful. I have written so many suicide notes in my life, but finally I've reached my end. I hope this teaches everyone to check on your strong friends. Be present always. I'm contradicting myself, but never give up. I know that I'm letting a lot of people down by what I'm about to do, but truth is I've already let down so many people throughout my life, and it just feels unbearable. I've lost my connection to God. The devil seems to have won. And that's okay. I blame no one for this. I thank everyone for all they've done, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But thinking about how everyone else would feel about my death is not enough either. I've tried to please and make everyone else happy in my life, in my entire life, excuse me. I've tried to please and make everyone happy in my entire life. I've been dead inside for too long. To everyone I love, just remember that this is not your fault, and pray you don't find guilt in my situation. To my granddad, I wish you were here to tell me I'm being stupid, to tell me it's not worth it, but you've left me and found your own peace. I've always been stubborn and prideful, just like you. I always dreamed of becoming so many things that I am today, but they just aren't enough. I'm not enough. I haven't felt enough for a while. But I say all of this to say I'm done fighting. My battle is over, and I pray everyone finds peace in that. That is selfish.
I think was so.
That is selfish. Because you know that people love you. And you're saying ask for help. Tell somebody one more time. Just one more time. Because you're talking about a permanent solution to a temporary problem. COVID, temporary problem. Torn ACL, temporary problem. Those classes, screw them classes. You know what? We can transfer to another school. We can sit at home. We can go get a job. That is not the answer, because so much of life is going to bring you hurt and pain and adversity. But you know what? It is so much triumph on the other side. I remember being very, very low, and my cousin Pam told me, it's as dark as it's ever going to be right before daybreak. If you have ever been up before the sun dawns the sky, it's pitch black. It's as dark as it's ever going to be before that sun breaks through. Stay around for the breakthrough. Stay around for the testimony. Stay around to say, I remember when, and help somebody else. But to leave your mother with the pain of knowing that everything she did was not enough. This child was clinically depressed, and I'm certain that her mother got her all the help that she could get her. And there is something about depression that I don't understand. And so I am admitting that. But to know that there are people there, and I thought to myself, this child is grieving the loss of her grandfather, because there is so much hurt and pain when you don't think you're going to see that person again. If you are a Christian and you have a love and a respect for God and Jesus is your Savior, then your belief is that, yes, this is temporary, that I won't see them, but I'm going to see them on the other side. I don't know that we're teaching our children that. I don't know that we're speaking to our children in such a way that we are saying, you know, it's okay to fail. This baby has said, I failed.
But so so she's failed. The young lady, Miss USA, she had, you know, she was part of a legacy, right?
Right.
A huge legacy. 3, you know, all across the board. And she still, you know, committed suicide. And so my point in saying this is that when depression is real and it is very severe, and when you again work so hard to achieve things that you think are going to give you long term, like you said, talk to your kids, let them know that failure and all these things, but when you don't, when it still feels like it's not enough from whoever it is that you are seeking validation from.
But that's the problem. No one else can fill you up, and you have to teach your children that. We have all felt.
I agree. You have to do that early,
and you have to tell them early.
You have to do it early in the thing, because you become an adult trying to figure out why you are emotionally unstable, why you're not feeling the things that people say to you, like, oh, you're beautiful, or you're talented, or you're smart, or all these other things, you know. And when that happens, when you're trying to figure out how that works, it's like it becomes even more overwhelming, you know. It's one thing to feel like you're not good enough, and then it's another thing to know that you're like highly skilled or highly talented,
and you don't get the recognition for it,
and you don't get and
you're the best cheerleader on the squad, but you don't make captain.
Don't make that.
But so that you have to teach I had to tell my son, you may not get MVP.
But even and the thing is, because when you teach them early, they know as adults. You know, I mean, I'm currently in a space where, you know, I don't nobody like me in the office, but at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I have to consistently remind myself that, like, it's not because of it's not because of what I'm bringing to the table. It's not because of even who I am, but it's because of them.
It's because of them.
Feelings about you.
But they cannot permeate your life in such a way that you feel, listen, let me say it this way. As I cut myself off on purpose, because this is my thing. This is a Coyism, and everybody who's in my life knows I have these. People will use your measuring stick to determine their worth, and when they don't measure up, they mad at you. That's not your problem to solve.
Mm-hmm.
I have told my oldest son, I said, you know, you soft, right? He's like, yeah. I said, little things hurt your feelings. You can't live through that. He said, what I'm gonna do? I said, your mama gonna help you. We're gonna get you through it. He ain't soft no more. Mm-hmm. Like I'm honest about my children. I'm honest about what they can do. I told my child, listen, you may not get MVP. I said, you gonna be okay with that? He said, no. Well, he wasn't gonna be okay with it because he know he deserved it. But I told him. They didn't have an MVP because these are little kids. This is everybody get a trophy. Even if you sucked, everybody gets a trophy. That's also a problem. So when they called my son's name, although he didn't get MVP recognition, every child in there, every cheerleader, every football player, every basketball player, every volleyball player stood up and cheered his name. That was his MVP. And when it was over, I told him, that was your MVP. Because you didn't need an actual trophy. But you got to talk to your kids. Let me tell you what parents are not doing effectively. Tell them your failures. Mm-hmm. Tell them how your stuff didn't work out right.
Be honest.
Be honest. Tell them how you messed up. Tell them you got fired off a job. Tell them the truth so that they know. You know, tell them, yeah, I almost left your daddy. Yeah, I almost quit your mama. Tell them the truth so that they'll know that life is wrapped up in failures. And that you can survive through them. This is Coy with the Black Tea Silk. We're gonna take a quick break. Go ahead, Lola.
I was gonna say, Tom Hanks said the one true thing he has found to be true that he wished he knew early in life is this too shall pass.
This too shall
and
pass.
This too, and we don't eat. We listen. We hear that, but we don't.
It's
that
as
doesn't
dark
work.
as it's ever gonna be.
Whether it's
Right
a
before
high
daybreak.
note, you know, or whether it's a low note, it's going to pass. And you in life, you owe it to yourself to experience that. You owe it to yourself.
Failure. Listen, people. I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna go to something light. You listen to people say all the time that they failed 12 times, filed bankruptcy 7 times before they made it. But the opportunity to make it ends if you end your life.
Yeah.
And I think that there are so many therapies right now. They're doing light therapy now because of prenatal depression and all these things. I had a friend that moved from Dallas to Atlanta to Chicago. She got to Chicago. She had these specialized light bulbs that simulated daylight. But she recognized something was wrong. This baby knew something was wrong and just did give herself a chance.
Even how you carry your baby. You know, I've never. I'm not a parent, but I've gone through therapy, and what I did learn is even how a mother is carrying the emotions.
That's right.
All the experiences, that is all a part of that child. And when you want to know, you know, you cried the whole time you was a baby. Well, the mama was crying. Right. And so whatever she was feeling, the child is still feeling, because that is the only thing they were subjected to when they were pregnant with them.
I think that there is a lot of depression. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna try to get some light. And yes, those that know me call me the food Nazi. Your diet has a lot to do with your mental health. We are not talking about that enough in our community. If you are eating a lot of processed foods and you're eating a lot of junk and you're not even taking good supplements, then you're gonna feel like junk. You are gonna process things a little heavier. There are a plethora of people undiagnosed that cannot process wheat, just cakes and cookies and sometimes sandwich bread and a Twix or a Kit Kat. Those are wheat. That's wheat. Your body doesn't process that. Guess how it operates on your brain? Like morphine. You can't process the casein, which is the protein in dairy. You guess how your brain processes that? Like an opioid. So there are some people that are happy drunks, and some people that are mean drunks, some people that are sad drunks. Same thing with drugs. So if you are not putting good things in your body, it's harder for your mind to tell you you're okay because your body is not okay. And yes, the body follows the mind, but the body can affect the mind. How you process food, what you put in your body has a lot to do with your mental health. We are not talking about that enough. I want to get to something light. This is Caught with the Black Tea Sip. We're going to take a quick break. I want to talk about Kim Kardashian. You know how people say you X out? Well, she X'd out of Marilyn Monroe's dress. This is Caught with the Black Tea Sip.
Do you want to find a stable job in a growing field? IT jobs such as network systems administrators, cybersecurity, programming, cloud, and computer systems analysts are expected to increase 25% by 2022. Texas Premier Technology Institute offers training for top certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, and Microsoft in less than 12 weeks. And if you're unemployed or underemployed, you may qualify for free tuition. Contact TPTI at 1-888-490-TPTI or check them out on the web at tpti.us.
All right, this is Caught with the Black Tea Sip, and I just want to talk about why y'all worried about Kim Kardashian messing up Marilyn Monroe's dress. Marilyn Monroe, when did she show up for the black community? Then, and she's certainly not now. She dead. So I'm confused. So Kim Kardashian wore this dress. We got a picture of the dress, Angelo. We got a picture of the dress. Kim Kardashian wore Marilyn Monroe's dress to the Met Gala. Everybody talked about it. She said she had to lose 16 pounds in 2 weeks. Well, it wasn't enough. That's the part they didn't tell you. The 16 pounds was not enough. But everybody was talking about it was unhealthy. And it was so who cares? Like, y'all want me to talk about Black China? So who cares? Like, I don't want to talk about that. Who cares? I don't care. So here's the dress. Woo-hee. I mean, it looked like any other dress ever in the history of dresses. It looks the same. This is how she wore it. So she had this fur. Now, I think what we ought to be discussing is the fact that this looks like a fake fur. Now, I am troubled by the fact this is looking fake. I was troubled by the fur. Do we have a picture of her tail out? Well, pull up the picture with her tail out. So here's Kim Kardashian. This is how she went, and she had this fur on. Well, it's May. I mean, I guess it's cool in L.A. I don't remember being this kind of cold.
York, yeah.
New York. I'm sorry, Met Gala, New York.
I've gone
I guess
to
it was
their
cool.
Met Gala, and it's still pretty cool. I wasn't on the
This is
red
the dress
carpet,
with her tail out.
But yeah,
she ruined the dress. People, black folks all in black Twitter. Now y'all don't care for real. So she tore up the dress. Well, 16 pounds wasn't enough. They should have sucked some of that silicone out of her tail if she wanted to wear it. I'm just saying. Marilyn Monroe was not a small woman.
Yeah, she was
Monroe
a size 10.
She was a very robust woman. So I'm trying to understand, what size is Kim Kardashian?
and I think so. I do feel like this was kind of staged, like to show a human side of her or something. And the reality is, I think it's a bust, because literally and figuratively, it's a bust, because it's like you knew when you put that dress on that there was something. I mean, shout out to the PR, but you knew.
Well, do we shout out the PR because it didn't work?
It did. Yeah, it's just like whatever. And then on top of this, you have enough people on standby. You could have just did a wardrobe change. Like, why would you just want to keep
that? That's a valid point.
It was never, and this was all to.
Who cares?
So they're big on stealing the show, whether it's positive or negative.
Yeah, well, all publicity is negative publicity. All right, George Carlin. Let's play George Carlin, because I need to talk about women's rights. Mm-hmm. Somebody posted on YouTube. I removed it because, look, quack, if you're listening to me, this is my show, and to tell me abortion is murder, well, how are you feeling about these unarmed black people that are getting killed? Because that's murder. That's murder. That's like murder. That's like real murder.
The death penalty.
Death penalty. How are you feeling about that? So don't come on here talking about murder, abortion is murder, because so was Trayvon. He was murdered. You done killed people who actually didn't commit the crime. And hell, I actually think it's murder of the spirit to hold somebody in jail 20, 30, 40 years and they didn't do it. So get off my show and shut up. Let's play George Carlin. Damn quack.
Why is it that most of the people who are against abortion are people you wouldn't want to fuck in the first place, huh? Boy, these conservatives are really something, aren't they? They're all in favor of the unborn. They will do anything for the unborn. But once you're born, you're on your own. Pro-life conservatives are obsessed with the fetus from conception to 9 months. After that, they don't want to know about you. They don't want to hear from you. No, nothing. No neonatal care, no daycare, no Head Start, no school lunch, no food stamps, no welfare, no nothing. If you're pre-born, you're fine. If you're preschool, you're fucked. You're fucked. Conservatives don't give a shit about you until you reach military age. Then they think you are just fine, just what they've been looking for. Conservatives want live babies so they can raise them to be dead soldiers. Pro-life. Pro-life. These people aren't pro-life, they're killing doctors. What kind of pro-life is that? What, they'll do anything they can to save a fetus, but if it grows up to be a doctor, they just might have to kill it? They're not pro-life. You know what they are? They're anti-woman. Simple as it gets. Anti-woman. They don't like them. They don't like women. They believe a woman's primary role is to function as a broodmare for the state. Pro-life. You don't see many of these white anti-abortion women volunteering to have any black fetuses transplanted into their uteruses, do you? No, you don't see them adopting a whole lot of crack babies, do you? No, that might be something Christ would do.
This is Corey, the Black Tea Sip. If you have had the pleasure of George Carlin, as a young girl, I loved George Carlin. And if you don't know the story about George Carlin, the comedian, was a rising superstar, right? I mean, I'm talking about selling out. He was on his way to selling out, stadiums, right? And he said, I am not going to talk to these people. The people that were going to put the most money in his pocket. That's why I'm a George Carlin fan, even in his death. God bless the dead. George Carlin said, I'm going to go to colleges. I'm going to go to universities. I'm going to go talk to young people. I'm going to talk to people who are just starting their careers, because those are the minds that I want to permeate. He literally left the trajectory that he was on You know how you see Kevin Hart and Chris Rock and all of them, they're selling out these huge stadiums. He was on his way there. What I just showed was in 1996. I want that to set in for a second. 1996, we're at 2022, and look where we are with the Supreme Court. And so I'm saying this to say there is integrity in comedy. We saw Dave Chappelle get attacked. We saw Chris Rock got attacked by Weak Will. And so now we're here with this man who's saying something in 1996 that is relevant in 2022. What is happening in America? Are we going backwards? Well, the idea that a woman should not be able to make a decision about whether or not she brings a child into this world should be left up to some man who actually doesn't know anything about childbirth. You know, I saw on Twitter where this woman made a statement, and this guy went on a rant, or maybe it was a woman, I don't know, it was a kook is what it was, and said things about not... You know, if you get pregnant, you live with the consequences. That's your fault. And now, who wants to? As a child, do you want to be a fault? Do you want to be a mistake?
Not only that, though, all of us have experienced grace.
Amen.
And so, people who say stuff like that, you forget that it's only by grace that you're even where you're at. How long you have been where you are. And so for you to decide that someone else can't receive the same grace that you are receiving daily is crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Because, and then to just decide that this is the best thing, to decide for someone else what's best for them.
That's absurd.
That's absurd. Like, I can't tell you. I can suggest. I can even tell you what I would do, but I can't make that decision for you.
And you're talking about a life. So anyone who has been a single parent, woman or man, it is hard. It is a struggle, and the joy that comes with parenthood is indescribable. It's indescribable, but it is hard.
But here's the thing, and it's all about numbers and money, right? So you're creating more of unstable people, homes.
Right.
So now we got kids that are on drugs at 16 because they can't sit still or whatever the case may be.
Right.
There's 12 people in a 1-bedroom apartment. No one's eating properly or eating at all.
And they know it.
And you know it. Like nothing about any of this says that this is a good idea, based on the fact that the only way you can increase your pockets is if we increase our poverty, our communities that are just there.
Because that's what's gonna hurt.
That's what's gonna hurt. It's not hurting you, because even in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, the ones making the decisions got enough money to fly they whole ass
Ted Cruz. They're gonna Ted Cruz you. They're gonna Ted Cruz.
They can fly their kids, their daughter who been sleeping around at boarding school, to New York, have this procedure be done.
It's going to affect black and brown communities. And let me be very clear. Margaret Sanger, who Hillary Clinton celebrated when she was running for office, started Planned Parenthood. She started Planned Parenthood with the philosophy of Bill Gates' father, eugenics. It was to sterilize black and brown women so they could not have children. And the reason for that is because they knew that eventually they would come the minority in the place that they've colonized, stolen, pillaged, and they did not want black or brown communities to become the majority. It is estimated by 2045, and it's estimated sooner than that, depending on what study you look at, that the Hispanic community will be the majority in the United States. So if you can stop white women from having babies, you can slow down on Hispanic community becoming the majority. I truly believe that's what this is. They do not care about these babies because, in the words of George Carlin, who was eloquently stating the truth, once you get the baby here, they don't care anything about you. They had a woman lying on there talking about when they were trying to stop Ketanji from becoming a Supreme Court justice, talking about she stays with the women and she helps them and she does this and she does that. I looked her up. No, you do not, ma'am. You're a liar. And I just want to say this about Republicans. I don't care if you're a black Republican, white Republican, Mexican Republican, Asian Republican, you're all idiots. I don't care what your race, ethnicity is, you're a dumbass. I am saying this to you. You are part of the most hypocritical, now I ain't saying these Democrats is all the way right, the most hypocritical group of people. The same people who were against homosexuality, they tapping their foot in the bathroom looking for glory holes. I'm going to say it outright. These are the same people who said they knew Trump was a cancer, they knew something was wrong, and they talked about it amongst themselves, and then they get out there and say January 6th isn't really what you saw. They literally said to us, are you going to believe us or your lying eyes? These are the people that you support. So for those people who are saying abortion is murder, here is the thing. You cannot be pro-life and pro-death penalty at the same time. You are oxymoronic in your very essence. You are a hypocrite. You are a liar, mostly to yourself. You are an idiot, and we think nothing of you. You are reducing women to back alleys and coat hanger abortions. That is what you're reducing your daughters to. Because let me say this. What goes around comes around. Because the same people who are trying to stop people from the ability to have an abortion. And I ain't a champion for abortion. I'm not. You know, I look at my children and I couldn't even fathom the thought. But I do know that I don't have no business, like Lola said, making a decision for you in your life. And what about the women who just want bed fun and don't want no babies?
But not even that. There are other things that, okay, if you are doing the in
vitro fertilization, IVF.
IVF. There is a form of abortion. If you're carrying more than 3 kids, it's 6 in there, and they have to terminate at least.
Or you're gonna be like Octomom.
Right. There are. I mean.
But let's go further than that, Lola. Even with IVF, sometimes you have to get rid of the embryo. Sometimes the embryo is just not going to be vital, and the doctor knows by the way it's forming, and they take it. That's considered abortion. And then we're not just talking about Roe v. Wade. We're also talking about Casey. Y'all need to look it up. So now you're going to talk about rights for gay people. Now, I'm not a champion for the LGBTQ community. I'm not part of that community. I have a couple of friends that are gay, but I'm not entrenched in that community. But I know this for a fact. If 2 people are together as they once were before homosexual marriage was legal, and one of them dies, they put that child that was adopted, because both of them couldn't adopt them. So only one could adopt them. They put that child in foster care and take them away from the home they ever knew with the loving parent. Because if a person is homosexual does not make them a pedophile. Because a person is a homosexual doesn't mean that they're not going to provide a loving home. Regardless of how you feel about it in your Christian faith, you evangelicals, that does not mean it's not a loving home. There is a lot at stake here.
There was a kid that was drafted, high drafted, and he was raised in a 2-mom home.
Right.
And now this kid is functioning, right. So to your point, yes. And the reality of the situation is, for you to think that your way is the only way is crazy. Because your way don't have to be my way, and your way don't mean it worked for me. And that's just real. And you're telling people, like 10-year-old, it's disgusting to find out that young girls are getting raped, and now they're carrying kids, and now they have to have a kid as a kid because you have decided that that's their punishment.
Incest.
And the thing is, then why should they be punished for something
And carrying a pregnancy when you don't want that child is a punishment of the highest level. So for those people, I am not pro-abortion. I am pro-choice. And more than pro-choice, I am pro-minding my own business. I am pro that. I am minding my own business. I am not about to make decisions for other people because I don't know what your life is like. And what about the women who are in domestic abuse homes and the husband is just pumping and dumping and knocking her up, and she's already got 4 children and she's struggling with that? She needs to be able to tip on to that clinic and take care of her business. I am not saying that it's right. I'm saying this is where we are. This is what is happening in our world. You don't need a 13-year-old girl having a baby.
And lastly, here's the thing. as Democrats, we need to be mad as hell at the people that represent us.
That's right.
Because here's the thing. It's kind of like when you are in a debate, high five, you played me, or high five, you won. I'm not surprised. Republicans have shown us who they are and been unapologetic. While you have sat here and tried to play kumbaya, let's all get along. It's got to be some love somewhere. I don't care where the hell that love is. I didn't vote for you.
That's right.
To find out where the human side is. I did vote for you to
protect my interests,
me and demand what we needed for ourselves. So you sitting back, it's because it's a whole bunch of y'all. If I needed y'all, I'd be better off fighting that fight by myself.
Well, I'm saying this, and then we got to get out of here because we run over. But the idea that we have allowed Trump to further the Republican agenda, because this is not about saving babies. And if you believe that there's a bridge out here in Oak Cliff, I want to tell you, this is not about saving babies. This is about being the majority. This is about being able to control. This is about control. And if you don't understand that and see that, then you need to do some introspection, because this is all about removing your ability to choose. What's best for you. The same people that are robbing you of your choice, and look, it's not a done deal. You know, it was leaked that this and Strange, kudos, high five, 2 thumbs up, herky for the people who said, you know what, I'm gonna leak this. Because I know it wasn't just one person. It was a little bit, what you think I will do? I think we'll tell it.
I think we'll tell it.
And so they leaked it, and so now we know what they plan to do. Now, whether or not it's going to put pressure on them, we don't know.
Hey, Belichick, when they leaked that he was cheating, he won. So since they leaked, I think now this should be a win now. Come on. They gave you the play.
Yeah, they should. I mean, things should be done. Now, the thing about SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, is the fact that they are there for life. And this has been a long time coming. So but now it's not complete. They can rule, and the Supreme Court rulings are the supreme law of the land that is followed all the way down to your municipal courts, your city courts, your court that will hold 4 misdemeanors against a man wielding a knife against Dave Chappell, that court. But what I want to be very clear about is that Congress and the Senate, that's why we have to vote in November to take the Senate back. We have to be able to ensure that they can vote this and stop it and make it federal law that abortion is legal. So it's not completely over unless y'all lay down. I need y'all to stand up. This is Cora with the Black Tea Sip. We're going to get out of here. We'll talk about Lola's Love Life next week because we ran over. But I hope you enjoyed the show. We enjoyed y'all, and we'll do it again next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. Diamond, peace. I said it wrong. Love, peace, and hair grease.